ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टाप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं देवतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यईश्वरम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वापदान्तिकम्। स्वरूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। Reading from Siksastakam. Cheto darpanamajjanam bhava mahadavagnirvapanam श्रेयकैरव चन्द्रिका वितरणं विद्यावधू जीवनम् आनन्दाम्बुधिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतस्वाधनम् सर्वात्मा स्नपनं परं विजेते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम्। नाम्नामकारि बहुधा निज सर्वशक्ति तत्रार्पिता नियमिता स्मरणेन काल एतादृशी तव कृपा भगवन्ममापि दुर्दैवमीदृशी जनेनानुराग तृणादपि सुनिचेन तरोरपि सहिष्णुना अमानिनामानदेन कीर्तनीय सदा हरि न धनं न जनं न सुन्दरीं कवितां वा जगदीश कामे मम जन्मनि जन्मनीश्वरे भवतात् भक्तिरहैतुकी त्वयि ऐनन्दतनुज किङ्करं पतितं मां विषमे भवाम्बुधौ कृपया तव पादपङ्कजस्थितधूलिसदृशं विचिन्तय नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिर पुलकैर्निचितं वपूतमनाम ग्रहणेन भविष्यति युगायुतं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायुतं शून्यायुतं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण मे गोविन्दविरहेण मे अश्लिषवां पादरतां पिनस्तु मां मर्महतां करोतु वाम् यथा तदा वातुलं पटो मत्प्राणादस्तु स एव नापरः मत्प्राणादस्तु स एव नापरः मत्प्राणादस्तु स एव नापरः। श्री चैतन्य महाप्रभु शिक्षाष्टकम की जय। प्रभुपाद की जय, स्वरूप गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, गौर भक्तों की जय। So Siksastakam, these 8 verses of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describing how one can attain perfection. This is these 8 verses are representing the 8 stages of devotion service, and these 8 verses are representing the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. 16 syllables of mantra consists of is divided into 2 couplets, and so into 2 into 8 couplets of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Look at that, and it also represents the 24 by 7, 24 hours. 24 hours are divided into 8 praharanas. These 8 verses also represents 8 praharanas. Means 3 hours is 1 praharana. So 8 into 3 is 24. Starting with 3 to 6 a.m., which we are in right now. With the class, we are in the second praharana. So 3 to 6 in the morning is first praharana. So each of these is representing a stage, and each of these is representing a first one of the couplet of Hare Krishna Mahamantra representing one of the stage of devotion service, and one of the first verse starting from first verse of the Siksastakam. Very significant. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing that Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, oh Bharata, the person who has worshipped Vasudeva for 100 lives will have the name of the Lord on his lips. Yan nama salai purvam Vasudeva samarchita. Tanmuke Hari Namani Sada Tishtanti Bharata. Hare Krishna mantra consists of 8 pairs of 16 names. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained that 8 pairs represent the 8 prayers of Siksastakam. The first pair, Hare Krishna, indicates destruction of avidya. That's Vidya Vadu Jivanam. Avidya. With faith, one should chant Krishna's names. This is the stage, first verse representing the faith, first verse also representing the first couplet of Hare Krishna. The second couplet, Hare Krishna, indicates all of Krishna's Shaktis. One should become attached to bhajana by taking shelter of the name in the association of devotees. By this bhajana, all anarthas will be destroyed. When anarthas disappear, steadiness in the name appears. The second verse is representing the sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartha nivurti. So second verse, that is the second Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is the stage, and then this is second praharana, which means 6 to 9 in the morning. And the third couplet, Krishna Krishna, indicates that one should steadily nishtha, chant the names day and night while maintaining the pure character as a devotee. The second verse of Siksastakam, where Mahaprabhu is telling all the Shaktis are invested in this, which is Nam Nama Kari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. And then at the end, the Anartha is, but na Anuraga. So even though all energies are invested, but I don't have taste because of Anarthas. How will you remove? Especially by taking the association of sadhus, advanced devotees, and hearing with rapt attention. And we will see further, or we will describe now itself. Parikshit Maharaj, in the beginning itself, Srimad Bhagavatam, before speaking, Sukadeva Goswami himself is describing that how one should hear, one should, he is speaking to Sukadeva Goswami, he himself is mentioning this aspect of how one should carefully hear. Srunvata Sraddhaya Nityam Granatast Swachestitam Kalena na Ati Dirgena Bhagavan Visate Hrudi. Persons who hear Srimad Bhagavatam regularly, Nityam, and are always taking the matter very seriously. Granata means taking the matter very seriously. Swachestitam, seriously by one's own endeavor. Chitta, chestita means activities. Swachestitam, very seriously. We have the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. Kalena naati dirgha means very quickly. Bhagavan Visate Hrudi, manifested in their hearts in very short time. So Sranvata Sraddhaya, Shraddha means great faith in earnestness. That means no matter what, I should chant from 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, whatever time, every day, consistently. So that steadiness must be there. Then further is mentioning that, and when he hears with so much rapt attention, and then Sridhara Swami quotes, Anudinam Adarena Sranvan iti. Yesterday we were describing that. Every day one must very carefully, as though Krishna is directly present. When we pick up the beads, how we should see the Tulsi beads very carefully. That also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing that. Also, before that, I will speak on this. The Pravishta Kannarandrena Swanam Bhava Saroruham Dunoti Samalam Krishna Salilasri Atasarat. How one should hear. It should touch the heart when we are hearing. That much with rapt attention one should hear. The sound incarnation of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Soul, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, enters into the heart of a self-realized devotee, sits on the lotus flower of his loving relationship, thus cleanses the dust of the material association, which is the 6 anarthas. Anardhopasamam sakshat bhakti yogam madhokshe lokasya janato vidvam chakre saktalam. These anarthas are 6 of them. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness. So all that. Moha, Mada, Matsarya. So those six anarthas and six waves of lamentation, hankering, desire, then birth, death, old age, and disease. So hunger, thirst, yeah, those are the six waves. That's why here it is mentioned that cleanses the dust of the material associations such as lust, anger, hankering. This thus it acts like autumn rains upon pools of muddy water. So that's why he is requesting that please speak, so that I can be fixed. By simply fixed, by I can attain perfection, I can remove anarthas. He's speaking to Sukadeva Goswami before he started speaking. Srimad Bhagavatam. Katayasya na mahabhaga yataham akilatmani Krishna niveshya na nissangam manas chakshe kalevaram. Oh, greatly fortunate Sukadeva Goswami, please continue narrating Srimad Bhagavatam so that I can place my mind upon the Supreme Soul Sri Krishna. Krishna niveshya nissangam. So, because mind is also, even though when we are alone, we are still in the Dussanga, as Krishna is mentioning in Chaitanya in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto. Tata Dussangam Usrijya Sattu Sajjeta Buddhiman. One who is intelligent, he will give up. Mano Vyasangam Muktivi. So, the mind also is the culprit, also in the wrong association. Mind is thinking unwanted thoughts because of anarthas. So that's why one must hear with great care and attention, so that I can place my mind upon the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and being completely free from material qualities. Manatyakshe Kalevaram. Thus relinquish this material gross body. Mm. And then he gives an example that it is like the traveler who has gone through so many places but is tired. He wants to go home, back to Godhead. And he gives that example. Dautatma Purusha Krishna Padam Moolam Namunchati Mukta Sarva Pariklesha Pantaswa Saranam Yatha. As pure devotee of the Lord whose heart has been once been cleansed by the process of devotion service, never relinquish the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, for they fully satisfy him as a traveler is satisfied at home after a troubled journey. In this way, we can see now how one should, when he's speaking of the beads, that is also Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning. Uh, तुलसी कास्त गतितैर मणिवीर जप मालिका सर्व कर्माणि सर्वेषां ईप्सितार्थ फलप्रदा गोपुच्छ सदृशी कार्य यद्वा सम सम सर्पाकृति शुभा तर्जन्य न स्पृशेत सूत्रम कंपये न विदुनयेत अंगुष्ठ पर्व मध्यस्थम परिवर्तितम समाचरेत न स्पृशेत वाम हस्तेन करभ्रष्टां न कारयेत भुक्तौ मुक्तौ तथा कृस्तौ मध्य मध्याम जपे सुधि. How one should chant, what kind of beads one should have, tulsi beads, but even then, even within that also, he is describing all those great details. The japamala made from the beads of tulsi would fulfill all desires of everyone performing all actions. It is auspicious if the bead size is gradual like cow's tail or a snake. That means it starts thick, big bead, and then gradually it rolls down to small bead. That is what it means. Mm, uh, and one should not touch the beads with a forefinger. Mm, so that's why the next to thumb finger, that finger we don't use. Then last index finger, those two fingers we don't never use in devotion service generally. We have to use thumb and we have to use the middle fingers together, and we have to pull it down. That's what he's explaining. One should not shake or swing the string of beads. I mentioned before, and now this is the confirmation directly. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking. One should not shake or swing the string of beads. One should not touch the beads with forefinger. One should chant the mantras using the middle finger and thumb. That's what is there. Even when we put tilak, when we put even kumkum, so it's always with thumb and middle two fingers. Not the index finger, not the next to thumb finger. These two fingers cannot be used. That's why when we have to have chanting bag, the second finger next to thumb had to come out. It cannot touch. So one should not touch the beads with the left hand or have them fall from the hand. That's why one should be very careful. He should put on the side and then bow down. Or if it is, then he has to make sure that hand is there, which beads or beads bag is not touching the ground. That should be good. Those interested in bhakti, mukti, and attracting others chant using the middle finger. So that's why we don't chant. So and that's why it is very careful. One must be very careful. And then he's saying, one who is attached to the absolute truth quickly attain perfection among all desirable objects. Even one chants this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with great persistence. Very quickly he attains the results by the name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The Lord said, this is the Maha Mantra. All of you go and chant this mantra according to prescribed number. By doing so, everyone will attain perfection. Always chant. There is no other prescription. सद्धर्मस्य अवबोधस्य येषां निर्बन्धिनी मति अचिरादेव सर्वार्थ सिद्धति येषां अभिस्पति. Those who are strongly attached to understanding the absolute quickly attain perfection among all desirable objects. If one chants Krishna's name with persistence, very quickly attains the result of Krishna Prema. So that's why one must. Now then one should control. The rules are described how one can control. Tatra niyamai. One should the controlling the mind, cleanliness, silence, contemplation of the meaning of the mantra, or even the holy name, being undisturbed and being without despondency are causes of success in japa. Na mana samhartam haranam saucham maunam mantrartha chintanam Avyagratatvam Anirvedo Japa Sampati Hetva. That's why we describe that one should attend Mangalarti or take darshan of the Lord on the Mayapur TV or Vrindavan on the YouTube. The channel everyday Mangalarti is recorded. You can see it anytime from your home. And then you chant the Samsara Dava prayers and Siksastakam prayers. And then we meditate on the holy name, we pray to the holy name. Nikila Sruti Ratnamala, Duti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta, Ai Mukta Kula Upasyamanam Paridastam Harinama Samsrayami. I'm taking shelter of you. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes that one should meditate on the names. Let's go back to the couplets, and then we'll come to that again. Otherwise, we'll forget this. So the first Hare Krishna mantra consists of 8 pairs of 16 names. The first pair is indicates the destruction of avidya. With faith, one should chant Krishna's name. That is the first stage of devotion service. And first verse of Siksastakam. The second verse describes indicates all Krishna's Shaktis. One should become attached to bhajan by taking shelter of the name in the association of devotees. By this bhajan, all anarthas will be removed. When anarthas disappear, steadiness in the name appears. And then the third couplet, Krishna Krishna, indicates that one should steadily, nishtha, chant the names day and night while maintaining pure character as a devotee, which means Trinada Pisunichena. What character? With those 4 quotients, constituents of the heart. Heart has to become like a vessel. That vessel has to have 4 compartments. Those 4 compartments are Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sayushna, more tolerant than a tree, and Tarorapi Sayushna, more tolerant than a tree, and Trinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sayushna, and yeah, more tolerant than a tree, and then also Tarorapi Sayushna, Amanina Manadera, don't expect respect and offer respect to everybody, and just like grass also, even when it tramples, it doesn't say anything. So more humbler than the grass, blade of grass. Trina means grass. So these are the 4 constituents. With this character, one should chant. That is the third aspect, third couplet. The fourth couplet, Hare Hare, indicates that that also Nishtha stage is representing the third stage, fourth or fifth stage. Then Hare Hare indicates that one should perform Nama Sankirtan with Ruchi, inspired by pure bhakti. So this is the next verse of Siksastakam. This is the fourth verse. Fourth verse. That Hare Hare indicates. And then that is Ruchi, next stage of bhakti after Nishtha Ruchi. Then Hare Rama indicates Sankirtan along with Smarana while developing a taste for pure servitude. This means the Smarana when only will come when we hear with earlier stages Nishtha, Sravana, with a long with the care and attention one hears for quite some time, then Smarana will start happening. We'll be remembering the Lord Krishna, His lotus feet, His holy name, His pastimes, His qualities. Gradually, we'll be able to remember once in a while and sometimes in a day and then gradually it becomes thick and thick. This smarana is represented as smarana avastha. Absorption, recollection, meditation, realization. So all these 5 or 6 things are mentioned as smarana stage. And then the Hare Rama indicates the next couplet, chanting with the sprout of bhava, with no taste for material life and great taste for Krishna. These are the so far we described 6 couplets. These are 6 verses of Siksastakam. Now the 7th one. Rama Rama indicates taking shelter of Radha's lotus feet in separation with attachment to Madhuri Ras. This is Bhava. Yugayitam Nimeshena. That was described. And then the last couplet, that is 7th couplet, and then the 8th couplet, now the Krishna Prema. Hare Hare indicates the attainment of goal, serving Radha and Krishna and Prema with the mood of a gopi during the 8 parts of day in Braja. This is the last, the 8th Sandhya, which is 12 to 3 early in the morning. Each couplet is describing each verse of Siksastakam, and each couplet of Hare Krishna Mahamantra describing the 3 hours, 3 praharanas, 3 hours is one set. So 8 into 3, 24 hours. That's how it became. And the 8 verses represent each stage. What are those stages? Rupa Goswami describes that. Sadhakanam ayam premno pradur bhavet krima. Gradually, practitioner from one stage to last higher stage, he will attain gradually. Adho Shraddha, Tada Sadhu Sango, Tada Bhajana Kriya, Tada Anartha Nivritti Syat, Tada Nishta, Ruchis, Tada Ata Asakti, Tada Bhava, Tada Prema Abhidanchati. First, there is a faith. One gains faith by the association of devotees. That's why association of devotees, Sadhu Sangha, Mukhya Tena Puna Anga. Even in the beginning, even when we become pure devotee also, that association is always there. Krishna is always with his cowherd boys or gopis or elderly gopis. Same way, also the devotees are also always, even in the when they are serving also, and Radharani is not alone. She is always with her associates. Court boys are not alone. They're always with their associates or with Lord Krishna. So, or with cows. So, they never alone. So, that's why association of devotees is the key from the in the beginning. Also, when we become perfect, also. It's very important. So, first there is association with the devotees by which one gains faith. Then, one associated with devotees to learn the scriptures and then practice bhakti, that is bhajana kriya, then gradually takes surrender to spiritual master, take initiation. Then anarthas are then destroyed by study bhakti, destroyed. Then the study bhakti, that is anartha nivritti. Then the nishta, study bhakti without confusion. Then the desire for the Lord, ruchi, appears after nishta, then ruchi. This is followed by spontaneous desire for the Lord, asakti, deep attachment. That means internal detachment will material things will automatically happen. This becomes bhava, that is ecstatic symptoms. So from asakti, bhava, this is called bhava bhakti. This first is sadhana bhakti, practitioner stage from Adho Shraddha all the way to Nishta and Ruchi. And then Bhava Bhakti begins from Asakti and Bhava. That is Bhava Bhakti stage or Raganuga Bhakti. And then the last stage is Krishna Prema, which is Asleshavam Padaratam, Pinastumam, Marmahatam Kroto, Yata Tata Vatulampato, Mat Pranarajas. That becomes his life and soul becomes Lord Govinda, Lord Krishna. So that's what is being described here. We can understand now the anarthas one should describe. There's a lot of details to be discussed, but at least one should know this, and one should submit to also Srimati Radharani to get the mercy that is also described. Now, yeah. In the age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. This is Hare Namaiva Kevalam. Namaiva Kevalam. So one's mind is not attached to the Lord, then without shame, without fear, day and night, conquering sleep in a solitary place, becoming detached, fixed on the goal, controlling eating, being peaceful, one should recite his names which will produce attraction. So that means the Rupa Goswami describing that one should control the senses by giving up atyahar, overeating or over collecting, prayasa, over endeavor also. What we should be satisfied with what we have. Can endeavor, not too much, like working 17 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours a day. Then what we are going to get, that we have to understand. Ate vidu swabda gatim, durasaya bahirabdaman namda upaniyama. What is the end result? What is the item? Whom we are working for so hard? We have to realize that at the end, what is going to happen? No one can protect. Only Krishna can protect. Holy name can protect. Only sadhu can protect. No one else. They will make us remember Krishna at the time. Otherwise, we have to take another body again. We have to suffer. We may not even get human body. So, but we have the protection and shelter from Lord Krishna and his pure devotee and the holy name. Then, for sure, guaranteed to get human birth, guaranteed to get spiritual body. So, if at all, if we haven't become pure, then at least we will continue where we left off, whatever percentage of bhakti, and then we'll continue. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur further describing that the anarthas in the second verse, Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti Tatrar Pita Nimita Smaranena Kala Etadasi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdhaiva Midrasi Ihajani Nanuraga. Where he is describing, so just like he is comparing with the demons he killed. Agadamana Yasoda Nandana Nanda Suno Kamala Nayana Gopi Chandra Vrindavana Indra प्रणत करुण कृष्णा इति अनेक स्वरूपे त्वयि मम रतिरुच्चैर वर्धताम नामधेय. O killer of the demon Naga, O son of Yashoda, O son of Nanda, O lotus-eyed one, O moon of gopis, O land of Vrindavana, O merciful to the submissive, O Krishna, O name, O holy name. You have mercifully manifested in various forms. May my attachment for you greatly increased. Hmm. So Lord has invested all the energies. So then is describing that just like Bhaktivinoda the Vyasadeva, when he fixed on this, very attentively meditated on the holy name and form of the Lord, then gradually he was able to see Lord Krishna. So on the in the front, on the back, we saw also external energy. But the conditioned souls will see that the Maya Shakti is in the front. Always mind is captured by Maya. Intelligence is subdued by mind, even though other way it should be. But pure devotee, intelligence subdues mind and senses. But for conditioned soul, Maya is in the front, is seeing Krishna as the back burner. So that is the opposite of Vyasadeva saw Krishna in the front, as it is explained. Bhakti yogena manasi samyak prane hite amale. All the impurities gone away. Fully complete absorption he had. Apasyat Purusham Purnam Mayam Chitadapashtim. He saw Lord Krishna in the front, then all the impurities gone away. So, but the Jiva's state is opposite. Ya Sammayuto Jiva Atmanam Trigunatmakam Paro Apimanuti Anardam Tat Kritam Chabi Padyate. So how one can now, what are these anarthas? Those anarthas are in the second verse describing this bhajana kriya and anardhanu. Those anarthas are, there are four types. One is misconceptions about the jiva, misconceptions about the Lord. This is tattva vibrama. First characteristic is tattva vibrama. In that, misconception about our identity and our identity of the Supreme Lord, misconception about the Lord. So, jiva vibrama, Isvara vibrama, and then sadhya sadhana vibrama. That means we don't even know what is the process and neither how to attain it. Sadhya is how to attain it, sadhana is practice. We don't have any idea. Even if we have idea, we don't have clear understanding. Then the misconceptions about the contrary philosophies. So or Siddhanta. We don't have a proper understanding of Siddhanta. Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva. Simultaneously, one are different. We are equal to Krishna in quality, which means Satchidananda Vigraha, always eternality, full of knowledge and bliss. Krishna, Lord Krishna is also has the same Vigraha. But quantity, we are different. We are smallest, is big, is gigantic. So, is the master, is Vibhu, and we are the smallest, we are servant. So, that understanding must be there, but not theoretically, practically. And then further, these characteristics, the other four types. There are there are four couplets of anarthas. The first couplet is Tattva Vibrama. So, in philosophy, understanding of philosophy about our identity, Supreme Lord's identity, Sadhya Sadhana, not understanding properly, and philosophy not understanding properly. That is the first set. And then the next set is the greed, Atyahar, Prayasa, Prajalpa, Prajalpa, Niyamantra, Jana Sangacha, Laulyam. So, six things which will destroy bhakti. One is the over endeavoring, overeating, no control over regulation, eating habits or sleeping habits. That is atyahar, prayas, over endeavoring, more than required, and prayas, prajalpa, unnecessarily talking. So no control of the tongue on the prajalpa. Then niyamagraha, doing Ekadasi or doing devotions or doing, but not understanding what is its purpose is. Niyamagraha means we follow, but blindly for something else. Not for Krishna, not for attaining Krishna or Guru's mercy, for something else, some other purpose. That means we haven't understood what the actual real essence of that rule is. Smartavya Satato Vishnu, Vismartavya Najaz. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. That is the thumb rule. For every activity, whatever, even if we follow Ekadasi, the fasting, that is meant only for that. Anything else we are doing it for, that is Niyamagraha. So that means we are doing it for some other purpose. It doesn't give the actual the real result. Agraha and agraha. One who is rejecting the rules, that is also the incorrect problem. One who is doing it but for wrong purpose, that is also problem. So the both is agraha and agraha, both are described. So that and then laulyam means greed, greed for unwanted things. So what is that greed? That Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining. Four types of thirst for temporary. Desire for happiness in this life, desire for happiness in next life, that is heavenly friend. Enjoy in this life and enjoy next life also. Then our desire for yogic powers, mystic perfections. Our desire for impersonal liberation, want to merge. So these are the four types of enjoyment. This greed for material things. So greed for the various things basically. That greed is described in these four ways. And the next aspect is mentioned the offenses. The next category is offenses. Krishna Nama Swarupeshu Tadiya Chit Ganeshu Cha Gneya Buddha Gane Nityam Aparadastu Chaturvida. Four categories of offenses. First is offenses to the holy name. Next is offense to the Krishna Swarupa, Krishna's form, deity. Next, offenses to the devotees, Vaishnava Prad. Then the deity, yeah, Seva Prad. Then Nama Prad. Now, Jiva Prad. So, offense to the Jivas. So, offense to the holy name, offense to the Krishna deity, form, and offense to the devotees, Vaishnavas, offense to the Jivas. Four categories. Then the next category of offenses is this is also very important. The weakness of the heart. Yesterday we discussed Hridaya Daurbalyam. In the chapter beginning Bhagavad Gita itself, this is described. Everything is there in Bhagavad foundation is there. From that only everything leads on to goes into detail into Srimad Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita. There itself Hridaya Daurbalyam is used. Before surrendering to spiritual master, he had weakness on the heart. That weakness is described. What that weakness is. Tucha Asakti कूटिनादि मात्सर्यं स्वप्रतिष्ठता हृदय दौर्बल्यं बुद्धै सस्वत ज्ञेयं किल चतुर्विधम. What those are? Attachment to the insignificant things, basic. There's even small things also we can't give up because we are not interested in Krishna. We don't see that as a detrimental. It's not helping us to, so we have to give up. But we are not ready to give up. We don't have the real attention to it. We don't have that seriousness to it. So that still we are attached. So we are attached to the insignificant things. It could be biting the nails. It could be something which we should not drink, we should not eat. It is about the sleeping habits, all those things, attaching insignificant things. The second is duplicity. So that is, we should be straightforward. Bhakti is about simplicity, is Vaishnavism. One must be very simple at heart, especially with the devotees, especially with spiritual master and sadhus. Speak straightly. If you have cunning behavior, Lord Krishna will cheat left and right. And that person who wants to cheat the devotees, as well as spiritual master sadhu, Lord Krishna for sure will cheat left and right because whatever characteristic we have bringing, the same character Lord will reciprocate with. Especially if you deal with devotees like that, Lord is going to reciprocate in the same way. So then we will have to learn the lessons. So that's a duplicity should be avoided at any cost, especially in the with the devotees, dealing with devotees. Like Duryodhana had this very much to the fullest extent all the way. From beginning of Bhagavad Gita verse itself, we can see his characteristic. Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra, especially it's Duryodhana too much. The envy, number three is violence to others, any jiva for that matter. So, especially devotees, we should be even more careful, not envious of any. Then next four is desire for fame. Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes this is even more worse because this desire for fame is the one which causes we become envious, because why other devotees being glorified, how can he do? He joined later than me, or he doesn't know anything, but how he is being glorified, how come spiritual master has given mercy to him, or this or that, so many things we bring up all our logic and arguments, but it's not depending. Mercy doesn't depend on us. However great scholarship, beauty, strength we may have, it doesn't depend any of those qualities. When sadhu wants to give mercy, he will give mercy. It is not based on our qualifications, so you cannot demand it. So that desire for fame has to be given up. When it happens, automatically. So Prabhupada is glorified more than the Lord in today in the whole world, because he didn't want it. Fame will automatically run behind the devotee when he is simply serving the spiritual master, previous acharyas, and the Lord. Automatically, fame will run behind, like Madhavendra Puri. Fame was running behind; he had to run away. He was being glorified. Everybody is talking. Who is Madhavendra Puri? They were shouting. Who is Madhavendra Puri, for whom the Lord stole the key and he kept the key for him? And so, who is that person? Then knowing, understanding that he, because he's such a humble, the pure devotee of the Lord, complete always. He was not even interested in eating. He was not begging even. He's completely immersed in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So that's why Madhavendra, knowing what's going to happen next day morning, immediately ran from there and he went to some other place. But there also they already, the whole world knew, got to know. Okay, Paramatma reveals. He wants to glorify his devotees. That's why Kunti Maharani in her prayers she is submitting. Oh Lord, you are the one who's doing. You are protecting my devotees. You are my sons, Pandavas. You are like Draupadi. Who protected? Lord Krishna only. Who protected the Brahmastra when Ashwadama released? Krishna only. Then Kanti is submitting. Lord, it's your is inconceivable, because you are the one. Without your mercy, Draupadi would not have been disrobed. You are the one allowed it to happen, and then you are the one who you did protection. Same thing. You allowed Ashwadama to release Brahmastra, because without your desire, without your intervention, he cannot even do that. Hmm. and and you protected again the Brahmastra, my sons. It is inconceivable. So that's a law. Because he wants to glorify in any situation how devotees take shelter of me, how Lord will protect, and right away He's always there to protect them. So he wants to show that. That's why Kunti Maharani in her prayers is submitting. Acharya has given commentary. Actually, what Kunti Maharani is thinking. So how Lord Krishna's mercy is inconceivable. How much is attached to his pure devotees. Even though sometimes there's a disturbance, difficulties, but none of them are seeing. The cohort boys are also not seeing. Even though they cry for Krishna when these demons coming, and the Kaliya trying to bite Krishna and kill Krishna, or the forest fire, various demons every day. But they're all crying, or when Indra thunderstorm, creating thunderstorm of rains. In every situation, they have taken only shelter of only Krishna, with full shelter. They're not calling for anybody else. Yasoda also calling Krishna only. Nanda Maharaj is calling Krishna. When Nanda Maharaj was swallowed by a snake, he called only Krishna. That is what it gives us indication. When we have trouble, when we have hit some accident in the car or somewhere, what are we chanting? Are we chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, or are we chanting some other things? What did we remember? That tells us what is our position, how much we are frail, fragile, our mind is flickering. That means how much we have to focus on our sadhana, on our service, on our submissiveness, obedience, sense control. That's important. So there, all anarthas are destroyed by bhakti. Apanna samsritam goram yan nama vivaso grunan ततः सद्यो विमुच्यते यद विवेति स्वयं भयम. What person desiring satisfaction of his intelligence will not hear the glories of the Lord, whose actions are praised by repeated persons, whose name with fear, personified fears, immediately liberates the helpless persons afflicted by terrors of material existence. So that's why one must have great faith with devotees, and offer respects and obeisances to the devotees when they are seeing the when they meet the devotees. Now, uh, further, now the Lord Krishna is describing to the important point how one should have this understanding. Having developed faith in topics about me and being disgusted with all karmas, devotee knows that all enjoyments are filled with misery, but is unable to give them up. Still, with affection for me, with faith and determination, he will continue worshipping me, while at the same time partaking of those enjoyments which give rise to suffering and act condemning them. That means he's not renouncing, neither is enjoying. Both ways. Jata Sraddha Mat Katasu Nirvinna Sarva Karmasu Veda Dukhi Tatmakam Kaman Parityage Api Aniswara Tato Bhajeta Mam Priti Sraddha Alur Druda Nischaya Jushamanaschatam Kaman Dukkoda Dukkhodar Kamascha Garhyam. So one must have strong faith. One should give up the enjoyment for his own thing, but give the enjoyment to Guru and Krishna with faith and determination. At the same time, anything coming, he is not renouncing artificially. He is not renouncing anything. He is utilizing everything in the service of Guru and Krishna. So he's not, and at the same time, he's detached from, for his own enjoyment, he is detached from the material things. So that is a understanding. With that, one should have the enthusiasm in association of devotees, as Sadam Prasangat Mamaviri Sambuddha was describing. And then Usaha Nishya Dhairya, one should have great enthusiasm and utilize everything in the service of Krishna. So then that way anarthas will be removed to the extent we are taking that hearing and association in the association of devotees quickly to that extent. Uh, and one should pray to Srimad Radharani. So where it is described, that also describing she is more merciful. Lord Krishna is very cunning, very tricky. He doesn't give so much easily. So worshipping Srimad Radharani means worshipping our spiritual master. Radharani, spiritual master is a representation of two tattvas, Srimad Radharani and Lord Nityananda Balaram. These two are the personalities who gives the most mercy. That mercy is coming through spiritual master, sadhus, mahajanas, because they are the most merciful. So they shower the mercy through spiritual master and sadhus, Srimad Radharani and Lord Nityananda. That is described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. राधं स्नात विभूषितं व्रज पया आहूतं सखिवी प्रगे तद्गेहे विहितान्न पाह रचनां कृष्णावशेषाणां कृष्णं बुधं अवाप्तदेनु सदनं निर्व्यूध गोदहनं सुस्नातं कृतभोजनं सह चरैष्टं चाहं तं च आश्रये. I offer respect to Srimad Radharani, who, after taking a bath, was decorated with ornaments, who was called by Yashoda and cooked suitable food along with her friends in Yashoda's house, and who later ate the remnants of Krishna's food. I offer respect to Krishna, who every morning would wake up and go to the cow pens, milk for cows as usual, bathe and eat with friends. Govinda, remembering this and chanting this pastime, very soon one will develop ecstatic prema. So, is telling how one should meditate on this, because how Srimati Radharani is absorbed in following the instruction of Yashoda me and cooking for the Lord and accepting the remnants of the Lord after that and absorbing in how Lord Krishna is performing his cowherd pastimes every day. So that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing. One should, in this way, one should develop attachment to the spiritual master and devotees and to the ultimately Srimad Radharani and Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. Then one can attain perfection. A lot of details are there, but time. So let's conclude with a few more details. Honoring the devotees is glorified in Mukunda Mala Stotra. Srandvan Sato Bhagavato Guna Kirtanani Dehe Na Yasya Poloko Dagama Roma Raji Na Utpadyate Nayanayor Vimalambumala Dik Tasya Jivitam Aho Purushadamasya. If one hearing the glorification of Lord's qualities by the devotees, the hairs do not stand on end, and pure tears do not flow from eyes. What is the use of life for such a condition? So, knowledge of Krishna's glories is Krishna's glory. Krishna, the Guru of the three worlds, sustainer of the universe, protects us. The universe arises from Krishna and merges into him at destruction. The whole universe remains within Krishna. We are the servants of Krishna. The highest spiritual goal is awarded by Krishna. we offer respects to Krishna. So that's why one must take up this process very seriously and submit to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna through spiritual master. Like Yamunacharya Prabhupada quote this verse, how much one should be serving constantly. Yeah, spiritual master never gives up the service of the Lord or previous acharyas. And we should also take up the responsibility for service. Always we should serve. Bhavantam evanucharam nirantara prasanta nischesa manoratantara Radham Aikantika Nitya Kinkarai Praharshaisyami Sanata Jivitam. Serving you constantly devoid of material desires and peaceful. When will I, as a fully devoted eternal servant, give joy to the master of my life? Mm, so that is in that mood one should serve always. Serving, chanting also serving in one sense, serving the holy name, serving the spiritual master because he has given the instruction. And serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he has given the instruction. Go and chant, fix the number of rounds, increase but not decrease. So that's why that is a service also. Whatever Lord and spiritual master instruct, that is our greatest service, highest service, topmost service. अपराध सहस्त्र भाजनम पतितम भीम भाव भवार्णवोदरे अगतिम शरणागतिम हरे कृपया केवलम आत्मसात कुरु. Make me as Atmasat. Make me as your devotee. Make me as your surrendered devotee, your own person, Atmasat. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made Kulina Gramivasis, even a dog or in a pig, anyone from coming from that village, everybody is delivered. So everybody will be able to chant the holy name. That is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told. He was so much pleased by their service every day, even now. They bring the silk ropes for Lord Jagannath Rath Yatra. That so much they were absorbed in service. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave them the blessing for the whole village. This is what Atma saw. That's why here Bhaktivinoda Thakur described. Oh Lord, out of mercy, make me your own, because I have surrendered. Though I have committed thousands of offenses, I have fallen into the huge, terrifying ocean of material existence. I am helpless. You have promised that you will deliver whoever surrenders unto you. Nam prasa paramardam eva me sruno vignapayam ekam agrata yadime na daishyate tato dainyastava nata durlava. Please hear my one important request to you. It is not false, O Lord. If you will not show mercy to me, it will be difficult for you to find a candidate of your mercy. That's what Kunti Maharani is submitting. I am the most fallen. So that's why I need your mercy. That means one who's thinking, that's why in the Vaishnava prayer is saying, Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyasya patitanam pavanebhyo. What is the condition to receive mercy? We have to feel helpless and we have to feel that we are the lowest. But the problem is this mind. Mind is biggest culprit. Mind is giving always trouble, thinking that no, 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 you are not fallen. You are great. You are doing great service. You are doing nicely chanting. You are doing a lot already. Enough. Take rest. Mind is telling. This is the mind. Mind is bekar hai. So always bringing the duplicitous mentality. So but not staying grounded. So that when we do that, when we feel fallen or lowest, so then we can receive the mercy. Without that, however great service we may do, however chanting so many rounds, whatever we may do, but we may not be qualified. Sadhu is not obligated to give mercy. Lord is not obligated to give mercy until we have that. That's why Trinala, that verse is mentioned in the third verse before we come to Nishta, before we come to Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava. Any of these stage will not appear until we have this condition. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his prayers, Narottam Das Thakur in his prayers, all the prayers you see that I am the lowest, I don't have any quality, I am the that is telling I am the stool in the insect. I am the insect in the stool. That much they are thinking. In reality, they are not imitating. They, in reality, they are thinking. No qualification, even though such an exalted person, but they are thinking like that. So that's why they received all the mercy. So from the Lord and the previous acharyas. We will have to continue with this discussion. So it's very significant. This Siksastakam is giving so many different angles. Bhaktivinoda Thakur especially opened up the whole world of rasas, exchange of love from his descriptions. The last overall divided into three each Pramana, the different ways. The teaching how in these one should be absorbed in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Glories of the holy name of the Lord. Or meditating on the form of the Lord. Or the qualities and pastimes of the Lord. By especially taking the association of the pure devotees of the Lord, because they are the most munificent. Mahaprabhu is explaining that Mahanta Swabhava Yehi Tare Ekari De Pamara Nija Karya Nahi Tabu Yana Tar Gara. It is general practice of all saintly persons to deliver the fallen. Therefore, they go to people's houses, although they have no personal business there. This is the quality, characteristics of the pure devotee of the Lord. They're always inclined to give their mercy. Mahadvicharanam Runam Grohinam Dina Chetasam Nishriyasaya Bhagavan Na Anyata Kalpate Kuchit. They have no other desire, only to deliver these conditions. So, my dear Lord, sometimes great saintly persons go to the homes of householders, although these householders are generally low minded. When a saintly person visits their homes, one can understand that it is for no other purpose than to benefit the householders. So that's why one must take the shelter of the pure devotees. By taking their shelter, one can develop actually Krishna Prema very quickly and rapidly. Further, the Mahaprabhu instructs Sanatana Goswami. Satsangam mukta dussango atum na utsahate buddha kirtyamanam yasho vaisya satrudhakarnya rochanam satsangam. The intelligent who have understood the Supreme Lord in the association of pure devotees, they have become free from bad materialistic association, can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though they have heard them only once. So, especially the association of pure devotees, one must hear. Further, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is instructing Sanatana Goswami at this point. दुस्संग कहिए कई तव आत्मवंचना कृष्ण कृष्ण भक्ति विनो अन्य कामना. Cheating oneself and cheating others is called kaitava. Association with those who cheat in this way is called dussanga, bad association. Those who desire things other than Krishna service are also called dussanga, bad association. So that's why one must be careful. Bhagavad begins with that. Reject the cheating religion. So all other dharmas and take up Krishna consciousness. Further, Sridhar Mahaprabhu is instructing. Sadhu Sangha Krishna Kripa Bhakti Swabhav Ye Tina Sabha Chadaya Kare Krishna Bhav. Association with devotee, the mercy of Krishna, and the nature of devotion service help one to give up all undesirable associations. Sadhu Sangha, association with devotee, Krishna Kripa, the mercy of Krishna, Bhakti Swabhav, and the nature of devotion service. Ye Tina Sabha Chadaya help one to give up all undesirable association and gradually attain elevation to the platform of love of Godhead. Kare Krishna Bhav, ecstatic symptoms of Krishna. We'll come to that. Who is explaining. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is elaborately explaining. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the Krishna Bhakti eagerness. One must have eagerness to actually receive mercy and to attain Krishna, to serve Krishna, and to his pure devotees. That or King Kulashekar Alvar is explaining the beautiful verse one must meditate on. Krishna Tvadiya Padapangkaja Panjarantam Advaya Visatu Me Manasaraja Hamsa Pranapriyana Samaye Kapapata Pittai Kantavarodhana Vido Smaranam Kutaste Kantavarodhana Vido Smaranam Kutaste. O Krishna, may the swan of my mind enter today into the net of your lotus feet. How can I remember you when my throat is blocked with kappa, pitta, and vata at the time of death? If we see fit, punish the body of this worthless person. You are the punisher and my master. Nimajjato ananta bhavarnava antas chiraya me kulam ivasi labdha. Tvayapi labdam bhagavan idanim anuttamam patram idam dayaya. Drowning in the unlimited ocean of material existence for a long time, I have come to the shore, O Lord. You have now obtained an incomparable object for your mercy. I call, out, but no one delivers me. Then you come with your feet on as the shore. You have become my seed of hope. You are full of mercy. If you accept me, you will find the best objects of mercy in me. Mm. Serving you constantly, devoid of material desires and peaceful. When will I, as a fully devoted eternal servant, give joy to the master of my life? अपराध सहस्त्र भाजनम पतितम भीम भवार्णवोदरे अगतिम शरणागतम हरे कृपया केवलम आत्मसात कुरु. O Lord, out of mercy, make me your own, because I have surrendered, although I have committed thousands of offenses, I have fallen into the huge, terrifying ocean of material existence and helpless. You have promised that you will deliver whoever surrenders unto you. Nam rusa paramartham evame strunu vignapatam ekam agrata yadi me na daishyase tato dainyas tavan nata durlava. One must have that dainya, humility. Please hear my one important request to you. It is not false. O Lord, if you will not show mercy to me, it will be difficult to find for you to find a candidate of your suitable mercy. That is the under the asat sanga tyag and nishta. One must develop fixed up faith in Krishna conscious activities. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing the taste for bhajan, the chanting the holy name of the Lord, or hearing na danam, na janam, na sundarim. Before that, for the nishta, one must remember the pastimes of Lord Krishna as described here. One should remember this forenoon pastime while chanting. The following description is given. पूर्वाहने धेनु मित्रैर्विपीनम् अनुसृतं गोष्ठ लोका अनुयातम् कृष्णं राधापतिलोलं तद अभिस्त्रीकृते प्राप्त तत्कुंड तीरम. I remember Krishna who in the morning went to forest with the cowherd boys followed by the people of Raja and greedy to attain Radha walked to the bank of Radha Kund. I remember Radha ordered by Jatila who had made her come home after seeing Krishna to worship the sun god and who at that place focused her eyes on the road where she sent her friends to find Krishna. And that is for the Nishta. Now the taste, getting the taste for the devotion service. Nadanam najanam nasundarim kavitam va jagadish kamayi mama janmani isvare bhavatat bhakti rahitu ki tvai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaching only accepting the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, nothing else. So material life of this material world begins with give me beauty, give me strength, give me money, and all this dehi. So, but we see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu starts with na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam, no wealth, no people. I don't want any followers, nor what I want, Jagadisha Kamai, only to actually your lotus feet. How one can get is now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu describing that that one must have one pointed attention. Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan satatam pati srotavyasya kirtitavyasya dheya pujyasya chanityada. Therefore, the mind dedicated only to bhakti, devoid of karma and gnana, one should constantly hear about, glorify, and meditate upon the Supreme Lord, the mask of the devotees. Make efforts to destroy another. The bhakti creeper will quickly yield the fruit. One should not become disturbed and lacking items or losing what one possesses. Many times we may lose things, but we should not be disturbed with petty, small, unimportant things. What is the big deal of losing a few dollars here and there? Big deal of losing why to put in stock and losing and then crying and thinking about it, lamenting for months and years. This is simply a waste of time. We're not going to get anything lamenting over things which are not important other than Krishna. So alabdeva vinasteva bhaktasya achadana sadhane aviklava matir bhutva harim eva diyas bread. Being undisturbed when one does not attain food or clothing, or when these things are lost, one should remember the Lord with one's intelligence. So let's say even the Kali was being punished by Parikshit Maharaj. He told, okay, now you have to take shelter in these irreligious principles. He couldn't find anything in the whole kingdom of Parikshit Maharaj. Then he has been told to stay in gold. So that's why we should be also careful. I know it's not easy Especially for women, should not have gold or jewelry, but we should become detached from it. It's as needed, you can wear it, but we should become detached from it. More we are attached, more we will be lamenting for that thing. So we should be careful. One should give up being undisturbed. How is it possible for Mukunda to appear in the mind of person whose mind is afflicted with lamentation, anger, or other emotions? For sons and wife, and one should accept only what is necessary for maintenance. Yavata syat swa nirvaha swikuryat tavad ardhavit. Adikye अनु अनुनया आयांच chevate paramartha. What is paramartha? The person with wisdom concerning material objects accepts as much as is necessary for maintenance of bhakti. By accepting more or less than that, the person will fail to attain the highest goal. So that's why one must have when one follow this process like this, then he can experience bhaktir paresha anubhavo viraktir anyatra syatri ekakala prapadyamanasya yatasnatasyu tusti pushti kshud apayo anugasana. Just like one taking while taking prasadam, how he experience the fullness of stomach and relief from hunger. So, and then feeling great pleasure. So, same way, one will experience bhakti, devotion, one will experience pareshan, direct experience, one will also develop detachment from other things. This will be the result of performing devotion service with giving up the attachment to the lower, unimportant things. So, no further. So then at that time the devotee reveals his mind, Prahlad Maharaj reveals, O Lord of Vaikuntha, this mind contaminated with sin, wicked and uncontrollable, is not pleased with topics about you. It is afflicted by lust and disturbed by joy, sorrow, fear, and desire for wealth. One must submit like this, Prahlad Maharaj submitting like this. Even though he is pure devotee, he doesn't have any contamination, he has no fear at all. Even when he was put into so much disturbances by his father Hiranyakasipu, he is the only devotee in the whole home. So all demoniac schoolmates, his father was demoniac, is ready to kill him any minute. And that was the circumstance. But even in that circumstance, it is we cannot even think of that situation. But he is performing devotion service day and night, 24/7. But still, he is submitting. This is a fallen condition. One must be in this mood and submit to the Supreme Lord. How can this wretch think of truth about you in his mind? Oh Lord, my tongue pulls me in one direction, my genital pulls me elsewhere, my skin, stomach, ears pull me in another direction, my nose and pickle eye pull me elsewhere. They have power to act in this way, just as many co-wives to destroy the master of the house. In this condition, how can I remember you, Pastor? Oh Nanda, oh son of Nanda. One prays for association. That is why one must pray for the association of the pure devotee with people of Raja. Here, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is explaining. Tadastu me natasu bhuri bhago bhavet avanayatra tu vata tiraschan enaham eko api bhavat jananam bhutva nisheve tava pada pallavam. My dear Lord, I therefore pray to be so fortunate that in this life as Lord Brahma or in another life, wherever I take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. I pray that wherever I may be, even among the animal species, I can engage in devotional service to your lotus feet. So in that way, when one chants and the four goals of life, dharma, artha, kama, moksha become very insignificant. You will give up even desire for liberation will be given up. So they will be constantly want to hear the holy name of the Lord. Na kamaye na tadapi aham kvachin na yatra yasmat charanam bhuja. So I do not desire anything else. I do not want liberation. In which there is no nectar of your lotus feet coming from the hearts of great devotees and falling from their mouths. Give me millions of years. This is my request. So that's why one must be constantly trying to hear. Regularly, one must hear. Symptoms of developing asakti by taking shelter of the holy name is being described. Until today, our minds are absorbed in household effort, but you easily steal both our minds and our hands away from housework. Now our feet won't move one step from your lotus feet. How can we go back to Raja? What would we do there? In this condition, all the wonderful qualities of a devotee will develop when one have this mood. In this way, through bhakti and false ego with bodily identification is destroyed. When you are 5 years old, by performing pure devotion to the Lord, who is the soul within, unlimited, full of bliss, and endowed with all energies, you gradually cut the strong knot of ignorance concerning I and mine. यत्पादपङ्कजपलासविलासभक्त्या कर्माशयं ग्रथितम् उद्ग्रथयन्ति सन्त तद्वद्ना रिक्तमतयो यतयोऽपि रुद्धस्रोतगणात् तं मरणं भज वासुदेवम्. Worship Vasudeva, the shelter by the devotion to this his lotus feet, his lotus toes, possessing ever increasing beauty. The devotees untie the knot of false ego filled with impressions of karma, which the foolish sannyasis who try to stop the senses flowing like a river cannot unite. Now, for this Ruchi, the pastime one must remember and meditate. I remember Radha and Krishna who are served by their associate during their midday pastime, who are ornamented with ecstatic symptoms from their interactions, who attain joy from the joking words of the Sakhis, who become agitated from longing and reverses, and who become engaged in swinging, playing in the forest, frolicking in the water, stealing the flute, amorous pastimes, drinking liquor, and worshipping the sun. Uh, Now the next verse going on to the now from Ruchi to Asakti, deep attachment to Krishna. Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddha krupaya tava pada pankaja stita dhuli sadrisam vichintaya. O Krishna, O son of Nanda, I am your eternal servant, but I have fallen into this dreadful ocean of material existence. Please be merciful and think of me as a speck of your dust at your lotus feet. So, by chanting without offenses with Krishna's mercy, gradually bhava, the ecstatic symptoms manifest. Krishna, who purifies by the process of hearing and chanting, who is the benefactor of devotees, who hear about him, enters the hearts of the devotees and destroys their sins. As the impediments to bhakti become generally destroyed with the constant service to the devotees and Bhagavatam, the stage of Nishtha Bhakti to Bhagavan, who is praised by the greatest stage, become established. The mind becomes unaffected by the lust, anger, and greed and illusion which arise from rajas and tamas. Then the mind becomes fixed in the form of the Lord, and at the stage of asakti becomes satisfied. So that's why one must be carefully pray to the Lord. My dear Lord, one who earnestly awaits for you to bestow your causeless mercy and tolerate the difficulties, not blame the Lord or the devotees for the difficulties. My dear Lord, one who earnestly awaits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering. See that one should not blame devotees or the Lord for that. Patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisance with his heart, words, body, is sure to be eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. This is the condition. This is the qualification one must develop. That with his heart, mind, and words, one must pray in this way. And then we can actually attain. The attainment in this condition is described. O King, the devotee who worships the lotus feet of the infallible Lord with constant endeavor achieves unflinching devotion, detachment, and experience of the Lord. He achieves the supreme happiness. Um, Now the important verse of one must to develop this dasyarati, servant to the Lord, has been a beautiful verse. This is in 6th canto, 11th chapter, 24th. Aham hare tava padaika moolam dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuya manas smaretas pate gunamste grunitava karma karotu dukaya. O Lord, I shall become servant of your servants, whose only shelter is your lotus feet. May my mind remember the Lord of my life. May my words chant your glories and may my body serve you. 6:11:24. We should meditate on this always in this mood of servant of servant. This is the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the mood of the pure devotee. Always trying to become a servant of devotees. Mind and our hearts chanting the glories of the Lord. By nature, the jiva is to be enjoyed by Krishna. Krishna is the enjoyer. Thus, by worship, the desire to be the servant of Radha, who is full of bliss, becomes prominent. Thus, one's bhava as gopi arises. Therefore, O vanquished of all distress, please show us mercy to approach your lotus feet. We abandoned our families and homes. We have no desire other than to serve you. Our hearts are burning with intense desires generated by your beautiful smiling glances. O jewel among men, please make us your maid servants, taking shelter of the Lord. Seeing your face encircled by curlings of locks of hair, your cheeks beautified by earrings, your lips full of nectar, and your smiling glance, and also seeing your two imposing arms which take away our fear, your chest, which is the only source of pleasure for the goddess of fortune. We must become your maid servant. So this is now different mode. The initial Dasya ras is now is Madhurya ras. It is necessary to take shelter of Radha's lotus feet. So as I mentioned, Srimad Radharani's mercy and Lord Nityan Prabhu's mercy is available through the spiritual master. So that's why we submit to both of them. It is very difficult to attain Krishna's mercy. It's we can't. He has all the cunning and his lot of tricks. Yes, he is the trickster. He is the expert cheater. So we should be taking shelter of Srimati Radharani and Lord Nityan Prabhu, Lord Nityan Balram. So here the shelter of the Lord Srimati Radharani's lotus feet is explained. अनाराध्य राधा पदाम्बुजरेणुम अनाश्रित्य वृंदा तवीं तत्पदांकम असंभाष्य तद्भाव गंभीर चित्तान कुटश्याम सिंधो रस रसस्य avagaha. How can one immerse oneself in Madhur Ras of Krishna without worshipping the dust of Radha's lotus feet? Without taking shelter of Vrindavana marked with her footprints, without speaking to devotees whose hearts have love for her, thinking oneself as maid servant of Radha, it is giving a false identity with a material body. I live in Vraja in the body of a gopi by Krishna's mercy. Becoming Radha's maid servant, I always serve in the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. So in this way, this has been described. Now we'll go to the meditation of the pastime for this stage of devotion service, that is taste, asakti, deep attachment. श्रीराधां प्राप्तगेहं निजरमणकृते क्लृप्तनामोपहरां सुस्नातं रम्यवेषां प्रियमुखकमलालोकपूर्णप्रमोदां श्रीकृष्णं चैवा अपरहाणे व्रजम् अनुचलितं धेनुवृन्दैर् वयस्यै श्रीराधालोकतृप्तां पितृमुखमिलितं मातृमृष्टं स्मरामि. Going home, preparing various gifts for Krishna, taking a bath and putting on fine clothing, Radha became happy from having glanced at her beloved. As afternoon passed, Krishna proceeded to Vraja with the cows and his friends. Satisfied with having seen Radha, he met his father and elders, and the elder woman caressed him. I constantly remember this afternoon pastimes. Now the uh, next stage of devotion is a transcendental emotion, bhava. These are very difficult to understand and attain it, but one can easily attain by the pure association of pure devotee by taking shelter of them by following their instruction. नयनं गलदश्रुधारया वदनं गद्गदहृदया गिरा पुलकै निचितं वपु कदा तव नाम ग्रहणेन भविष्यति. When will my eyes fill with tears, my throat blocked with a faltering voice, and all the hairs on my body stand and end as I chant your holy name? The preliminary state of prema is called bhava. There are few sattvika bhavas such as tears in the eyes and hair standing and end. Characteristics of the bhava is in various dealings is described. शांति अव्यर्थ कालत्वम विरक्ति मानशून्यता आशाबंध समुत्कंठद नामगान सदारुचि आसक्ति तद्गुणाख्याने प्रीति तद वसति स्थले इति आदयो अनुभाव स्युर जाता भावांकुरे जने. These are the stages one who's attained this bhava stage. What are the tolerance? Is always tolerating and not wasting time. Avyartha kalatvam is detached from enjoyment. And that is the virakti and mana sunyata, no pride, pridelessness, and confidence in the Lord's mercy, asa bandha, and samutkanta, longing for the Lord, is has deep attachment to the Lord. And then nama gani sadarati, the taste for chanting the name of the Lord, an attachment to discussing asakti tat gunakyana, discussing about the Lord's pastimes, Lord's qualities, and attachment to living in the abode of the Lord. So then, anubhavas that manifest when bhava increase are described. External transformations known as anubhavas are actions such as dancing, rolling on the ground, singing, shouting, stretching the body, bellowing, yawning, breathing heavily, disregarding others, drooling, laughing loudly, whirling around, and hiccups. These are the various ecstatic symptoms will appear for one who is developed this stage, come to that stage. So then he will be revealed of his Siddha Deha, what is his original identity, original rasa, original relationship with the Supreme Lord, Sri Radha Krishna. That will be revealed at that point. So in the Siddha Deha, the person is a spiritual servant of Krishna. When the rati of being a servant arises, the jiva considers the material life to be useless. I am not a Brahmana, a king, Vaishya, or Sudra. I am not a brahmachari or householder, vanaprastha or sannyasi. I am the servant of the lotus feet of the master of the gopis who manifest a full suite of ocean of highest bliss. Following after the inhabitants of Raja, one should perform service in one's physical body, in one's siddha body, with a desire for particular bhava. Mahaprabhu summarizing. If a woman is attached to a man other than her husband, she will appear very busy in carrying out her household. But within her heart, she is always relishing feelings of association with her paramour. In that way, one must also develop that deep attachment. Very careful. Externally is still in the household life. Externally is still doing some work, job or business, whatever the case may be. But internally is completely detached. Is so much focused on only Lord Krishna and Guru, how to serve them. This is the consciousness one must. Kadaham yamuna tire namani tava kirtayan udaspa pundarikaksha rachayishyami tandavam. O lotus-eyed Lord, when will I dance on the bank of Yamuna with tears in my eyes while singing your names? Nitya Siddha Bhava of the Jiva is to be a servant of Krishna. In the bound condition, this is covered by ignorance. By cultivating a relationship with Krishna, Bhava manifests spontaneously. One must cultivate this Bhava without duplicity. That heart. mm, so that's why one must develop in this way. One must follow these footsteps of gopis of Vrindavan and the cowherd boys of Vrindavan. Oh, omniscient Lord, if bhakti to you remains firm, the sporting youthful form will automatically be mine. The liberation in person serves me with folded hands, and the goals of Dharma, the Kama, will expectantly to serve me. So in this way, they started crying for so Radha and Krishna's association, his devotees' association. Giving up shyness, I began to chant the names of the unlimited Lord and to remember his most excellent hidden pastimes. I wandered the earth and with satisfied mind, without material desire, without pride or selfishness, waiting for that time. Sometimes they weep because of the thoughts of the Lord, sometimes they laugh, become joyful, or speak without regard for society. They dance, they sing, concentrate their senses on Krishna, having attained the Lord and expecting bliss, they remain silent. So one becomes attracted to the Lord's form on seeing him. Syamam Miranya Paridim Vanamalya Varha Dhatu Pravala Natavesam Anupratansi Vinyasta Hastam Vitarena Dunanabjam Karna Utpala Alaka Kapola Mukabjahasam. This is the Brahmana Patni, Dvija Patnis when they saw Lord Krishna because only they have developed to come to this kind of bhava ecstatic symptoms is simply by hearing. Regularly they used to hear. They never went to any temple or any place, but they were regularly hearing Krishna's pastime from the childhood. Whenever they are fetching water, whenever they are washing clothes, they are always hearing the pastimes of the Lord Radha and Krishna. So they became so much absorbed and attached. And they are not concerned about what their husbands are doing in sacrifices. They are so much attached to karma kanda, which are sacrifices, and attached to the results and to enjoy. But their wives are not attached to any of that. They are simply absorbed of the beauty of the Lord. So that's why it is described. His complexion is dark blue and has a garment golden, wearing a peacock feather, colored minerals, sprigs of flower buds, and a garland of forest flowers and leaves. He was dressed just like a dramatic dancer. He rested one hand upon the shoulder of a friend, with the other twirled a lotus. Blue lotuses grazed his ears, his hair hung down over his cheeks, and his lotus like face was smiling. बर्हापीठं नटवरवपु कन्नयो कन्निकां बिभ्रद्वासकनकविषं वैजयन्ती च मालां रन्ध्रान् वेणोरदनसुतया पूरयन् गोपवृन्दैर्वृन्दारण्यं स्वपदरमणं प्रविशद् गीतकीर्ति. So that's why they, as soon as they immediately saw Krishna, and exactly same description every day they were hearing, then immediately they become so much deeply attached. They never want to leave. They were begging Krishna, don't leave us. Let us stay here. You don't need to take us to your home. We will stay here near Giriraj Govardhan, and we will see you every day. We will see you going by, and we will take your dust where you are walking. We will be simply observed. We don't need anything. You don't need to arrange anything. We let us be here. Allow us to be here. And that's how they were some. But the Lord Krishna told, no, you have to go back to your home and help your husbands and your family members. And, don't worry, no, who will accept us? We rejected them, we came here. But the Lord Krishna said, don't worry, I will make sure that they always will remember, they will allow you. And then that's what happened when they went back, Dvijapatnis. Actually, the Brahmanas realized by Paramatma, that's why Paramatma has to reveal. Paramatma has to evoke that feeling in the hearts of the family members and others who are maybe against opposite views and whatnot, but it can only be revealed by sincerely praying for them and asking others to, other pure devotees to pray for them. By that process only we can, they can develop. Otherwise, it's not possible. So one who are averse to devotion service to develop that taste, develop that feeling for Krishna is not possible unless pure devotee, somehow or other, Ajnata Sukruti, they have attained. And by that mercy, only one Lord has to reveal. Lord has to inspire within the heart. By our own endeavor, it's just not possible. It cannot happen. So, wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikara flowers on his ears, yellow garment as brilliant as gold, Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavana, beautifying it with marks of his footprints. He filled with the holes of his throat, with nectar of his lips, and court boys sang the glories. One becomes fascinated with the Lord's form, which enchanted even Krishna in chanting the name. Yanmatya Leela Upaikum Swayoga Maya Balam Darshayita Grahitam Vismapanam Swasya Cha Sobhaga Adde Param Padam Bhushana Bhushanangam. Krishna possesses that form suitable for a human pastime to show the full capacity of his Yoga Maya. That form astonishes even the Lord of Vaikuntha, Lord Narayan. That's why Lord Narayan stole all these sons of the Brahmana from Dwaraka. As soon as they are born, Lord Narayan hid them, took them to Vaikuntha because he wants to see Lord Krishna. He himself is getting attached. That's what is described here. That form astonished even the Lord of Vaikuntha. It is the pinnacle of auspicious qualities and enhances the beauty of his ornaments. And then Lord Krishna took Arjuna with him. Then he took him to Vaikuntha Loka and met Lord Narayan. And Lord Narayan gave back all the sons of Brahmana. And then they returned. So this is such amazing pastime. So that's why one must develop this attachment. The joyful gopis and Priya Narma Sakas. This is Subal and Sridham Madhumangal. Especially Sridham and Sridham. Subal is one of the Priya Narmasaka, drank with their eyes Krishna's face, a continual festival of delight. With its playful smile, attractive with beautiful cheeks and ears shining from his Makara's earrings, but they could not be fully satisfied and became angry with the Creator who made their eyes blink. So, यस्यान्नं मकरकुण्डलचारुकर्ण व्रजत् कपोलसुभगं स विलासहासं नित्योत्सवं न ततृप्तिर्दृष्टिभिर्पिबन्त्यो नार्यो नराश्च मुदिता कुपिता निमेषे च. At the Rajaswaya sacrifice of Yudhishthira, all the people of the universe, seeing the form of the Lord, which created auspicious in all directions, considered that the skill of the Creator in making the most beautiful objects in the recent universe was nullified completely at that time. And then what will be the result? The result of seeing the Lord's form with affection is described. The women of Raja, after pastimes of love or rasas, exchange of glances, followed him with their eyes when he left, and thus they sat down with stunned intelligence and could not finish their household duty. They became so much absorbed. Uh, so his mercy is also like that. Oh Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kali has attained this great opportunity of being touched by the dust of your lotus feet. For this end, the goddess of fortune performed severe austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and taking austere vows. Um, in this way, we can attain the pastime to remember at this stage. Is in the evening, Radha prepared a meal and sent it to Krishna through her friends. After Krishna took his meal, the Sakis brought remnants back to Radha. See that she herself is always waiting for the mercy of Krishna. She is always thinking as a maid servant. Gopis always think as a maid servant. This is the attitude of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is exhibiting and showing us. Always, and this should be the mood. She became happily, she is always serving Krishna and she is always taking remnants. She became happy taking that meal along with her friends after taking his one. She is compassionate. She is sharing with others. After taking his bath, Govinda put on pleasing clothing with being pampered by his mother. He then went to milk the cows and after many playful pastimes returned to his house and took his meal. I remember that evening pastimes of Radha and Krishna. The last one will end here soon. युगायितं निमेषेण चक्षुषा प्रावृषायितं शून्यायितं जगत्सर्वं गोविन्दविरहेण अश्लेषवां पादरतां पिनस्तु मां मर्महतां करोतु यथा तथा वातु लम्पटो मत्प्राणनादस्तु स एव नाप्र मत्प्राणनादस्तु स एव नाप्र. In separation, there is a purvarag. Both moods are suitable for practitioners of bhajan. Purvarag is described. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only taste for us gopis, for whom that nectar is actually meant? The forefathers of the flute, bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hair on her body. Blessed are all those foolish deer because they have approached Maharaj Nanda's son, who is gorgeously dressed and is playing on his flute. Indeed, both the doe and the bucks worship the Lord with looks of love and affection. When the rivers hear the flute song of Krishna, their minds begin to desire him, and thus the flow of their currents is broken, and their waters are agitated, moving around in whirlpools. Then, with the arms of their wives, the rivers embrace Murari's lotus feet, and holding on to them, present offerings of lotus flowers. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. Anta Yamadri Vala Haridasa Varyo Yadrama Krishna Charanas Parsya Pramoda Manam Tanoti Sago Ganayostayor Paniya Suyavasa Kandara Kandamulai. Of all the devotees, this Govardhan hill is the best. Oh, my friend, this hill supplies Krishna and Balram along with their cows, cohort friends, with all kinds of necessities, water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, flowers, vegetables. In this way, the hill offers the respects to the Lord, being touched with the lotus feet of Krishna and Balram, at Ramakrishna Charanas Sparsa Pramoda. Govardhana hill appears very jubilant. My dear friends, as Krishna and Balram pass through the forest with their cowherd boyfriends leading their cows, they carry ropes to bind the cows' rear legs at the time of milking. When Lord Krishna plays on his flute, the sweet music causes the moving living entity to become stunned and the non-moving trees to tremble with ecstasy. These things are certainly very wonderful. Radha's mood during long separation is most suitable for practitioners. Um, Reading Brahmar Gita, especially one develops the mood of Srimad Radharani. I Dina Dayartha Nada He Mathura Nada Kadavalokya Se. This is also very famous verse. Madhavendra Puri is always chanting this. Hridayam Tat Alok Kataram Daita Brahma Iti Kim Karomi Aham. O my Lord, O most merciful Master, O Master of Madhura, when shall I see you again? Because of my not seeing you, my agitated heart has become unsteady. O most beloved one, what shall I do now? This Madhavendra Puri is submitting in the mood of Srimad Radharani, in the mood of gopis. Oh Providence, you have no mercy. You bring embodied creatures together in friendship and love, then seamlessly separate them before they fulfill their desires. This whimsical play of yours is like child's game. They chastise the Lord like this, but they are always deeply attached. When he brought us to the assembly of Rasa dance, where we enjoyed his affectionate, charming smile, his delightful secret talks, his playful glances and embraces, we passed many nights as if they were a single moment. Oh, gopis, how can we possibly cross over the insurmountable darkness of his absence? This way, the gopis are submitting this deep separation. While gazing at their beloved Lord Krishna, the young gopis used to condemn the creator of their eyelids. Now, seeing Krishna again after such a long separation with their eyes, they took him into their hearts and they were embraced him into their full satisfaction. In this way, they became totally absorbed in ecstatic meditation on him. Although those who constantly practice mystic yoga find such absorption difficult to achieve, the gopis spoke thus, Dear Lord, whose navel is just like lotus flower, your lotus feet are the only shelter for those who have fallen into the deep well of material existence. Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers. We wish that the lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we are only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs. The Supreme Lord approached the gopis in a secluded place as they stood in their ecstatic trance. After embracing each of them and inquiring about their well being, he laughed and spoke as follows. Mai bhaktir hi bhutana amrutattvaya kalpate dishtya yad asin mat sneho bhavati ram mat apana. Rendering devotion service to me qualifies any living being for eternal life. but by your good fortune you have developed a special loving attitude towards me, by which you have obtained me the meditation of the pastime. With the arrival of the night, the Sakis eagerly prepared Radha for her meeting with Krishna by dressing her in white clothes during the waxing moon and or in a dark clothing during the waning moon. Following Vrinda's cue, they went to the meeting place among the desired trees on the bank of Yamuna. This must be Nidhivan. Krishna and Balram joined Nanda and the inhabitants of Raja to watch the entire entertainment to the in the palace theatre. Afterwards, Yashoda tucked Krishna in bed. Due to his thirst for pastime, he left unseen to meet Radha in a solitary grove. I remember this pastime. This is by Belamangal Thakur. This is revealing the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Vrunda Devi and Purnamasi arranges these pastimes, confidential pastimes for Radha and Krishna's pleasure. And then the last one will stop. When a person who gives up all the karmas offers himself entirely to me, the eagerly desires to render service to me alone, he achieves freedom from death and more important is qualified to be an associate of mine in Prema, in Krishna Prema. O mind, do not perform dharma or adharma as described in the Vedas. Intensely serve Radha and Krishna and Braja. Constantly remember the son of Sachi as the son of Nanda and remember Guru as the dear servant of Mukunda. I do not have prema or bhakti in the form of hearing, etc. I have no practice of meditation of Vishnu in the Ashtanga Yoga, nor do I have practice of jnana or varnashna duties. I do not even have good birth to execute this action properly. But since you are the most merciful to the least qualified, O dear lover of the gopis, though I have impure desires, my aspiration for you continues to agitate me. Will I become Radha's young maid servant, devoted to serving her in various ways, constantly at her side? Wearing her used silk bodies on my chest, which has been given by her hand personally. In this way, one is meditating on the Lordships of Radha and Krishna. Um, one should spend all one's time engaging the mind and tongue in remembering and glorifying Krishna's pastime, name, form, pastimes, living in Raja and following in the footsteps of the great devotees. Great love of will develop great love for Krishna. Tannam Rup Upacharitad Sukirtanam Anusprityo Kramena Rasana Manas Niyoj Tishtam Raje Tad Anurag Jananugami Kalam Nayediti Upadesh Saram. In this way, one must remember. With this last words, will conclude. Krishnan Smaram Janam Chasya Preshtam Nija Samahitum Tat Tat Kada Ratas Chaso Kuryat Vasam Vraje Sada, remembering the Vrindavana form of Lord Krishna and his dear associate who have inclinations for service similar to one's own, absorbing oneself in hearing topics related to them, one should always live in Vrindavan, or one should carry that consciousness. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Siksastakam is much more detailed there, but time is limited. We'll stop here. Thank you very much for